Hey, I'm Zoe, and this is the Relentless Reset. No formulas, no fixes, just short, honest reflections on navigating the messy middle of growth and becoming. I lost my dad in 2021, but I've been thinking about him a lot recently. The only trips my dad and I ever took, just the two of us, were river rafting, and I loved it. But I was also overly aware of the possibilities, flipping and drowning and maybe a snake or two. It was both terrifying and exhilarating. And one trip when I was about 11 was in Oregon, and the river had Class 4 rapids, bigger than I had ever experienced. It was a multi-day trip, so we had some training beforehand, a couple of days of easier rapids for practice, and of course, we all wore life vests, but despite all the preparation, it happened anyway. Something went wrong, as it does, and my dad and I flipped. Now, after the initial shock of the cold water and the disorientation of the flip, I kept hearing the guides in my head, as they had intended, what they had repeated over and over throughout the weekend. If you fall out, don't struggle. Just put your feet out in front of you and let the current take you out of the rapid. So I did. 60 seconds later, I was out of the rapids and gently floating to the bank. Nothing to it. See, whitewater deaths don't happen because the river itself is somehow deadly. Most of the time they happen because something goes wrong and we don't adapt. We resist. We swim against the rapids. We struggle. We exhaust ourselves fighting and we drown. It's the struggle that ends up being deadly. So when life starts to feel like a slog and I'm exhausted, it usually means I've dropped into old habits, ignoring my body and letting my brain run the show. So in the moments I can recognize this, even to this day, I remind myself, Zoe, are you fighting the river? Just put your feet out in front of you and let the river take you. It's my reminder to reset, to stop struggling, let go of my need to control, and just float. And that's how you can think of this part of the journey. Your mind, your planner, fixer, performer mind, has been leading for a long time, but as we've discussed, the version of life it built no longer fits. You've stopped performing, and your mind is shocked and disoriented as it reboots. So you lose your rhythm. Energy spikes, sleep disappears, motivation vanishes. It's like you've lost GPS, and fairly you might start to wonder if you've made a terrible mistake. But rather than making panic decisions, which are dangerous both on the river and in life, just consider this your invitation to stop. To stop trying to force anything. To slow down and just let the river lead you. Because if you can stop, even for a moment, you'll realize something. You're still moving. Not because you're paddling or swimming, but because life is still flowing. The current hasn't stopped. You've just stopped fighting it. This moment isn't asking you to try harder. It's asking you to surrender. Now, I know that word is problematic for a lot of high achievers. Surrender can feel like quitting, like giving up. But in this context, it is not capitulation. It is not passive. It is the active acceptance of reality. You might want for the current to flow in a different direction, but no amount of wishing or fighting will ever actually be strong enough to change its course. Surrender is a decision to stop struggling against what is, not to capitulate to it, but to face it. When you're fighting the current, every move takes twice the energy for half the result. It's exhausting. But when you stop fighting the current, when you accept your reality, your effort works with the river, not against it. It's half the effort and twice the result. Floating is not the absence of action. It's the reset that makes meaningful action possible. You surrender to face what is, so you can lead yourself with intention rather than react from fear. Now, here's where the body comes in. Your mind might feel shocked and disoriented in this phase, but your body is not confused. In fact, your body has been waiting for this exact moment when it could finally speak without being overridden. But be warned, when you stop ignoring what you know deep down isn't aligned, your body will not reward you with calm. Instead, it will send you every signal you've been suppressing. The fatigue you ignored, the tension you normalized, the restlessness beneath the mask. It is migraines and jaw clenching and sudden tears you can't explain. It's all your body saying, now that we're not pretending, can we please deal with the truth? And the body doesn't lie. It simply stores what the mind ignores and reports back relentlessly. When you stop overriding it, though, it brings you back to the truth of what you need. Feeling discomfort isn't danger. Dysregulation isn't derailment. They're messages, simply feedback. Your body isn't punishing you. It's trying to guide you. Western culture elevates the brain like it's the CEO. But the truth is that nearly 80% of signals go from body to brain, not the other way around. The body is not lesser. It's primary, the origin of your inner voice. It's not a sidekick to your thoughts. It's the source of them. So, you've got a mind in reboot and the body flooding you with repressed signals. You've been living entirely in the mind. Now you may find yourself flung into the body hard. First to one extreme, then the other, then maybe back again. It may all feel very chaotic, like you've lost all control. But here's the reframe. The opposite of control isn't chaos, it's trust. It's capacity. This is not going to be a point A to point B experience, so just be along for the ride. And try not to judge the pendulum swing. The goal isn't to land on one side or the other. It's to let both parts speak. That's how you find your center. So let the signals settle, let it all integrate. You've been swimming upstream for a really long time. Maybe it's time to just let yourself be carried. Now, one tool that can help you bridge the swing is your breath. There's a reason breath is at the center of nearly every mindfulness tradition. It's always with you. It costs nothing. It's often the first thing to go when you're in performance mode or panic. And it's a physical tool that's been proven to shift your emotional state. My godmother used to say that fear is excitement without breath. And it's true. Physiologically, fear and excitement are very similar, and one can easily turn into the other simply by changing shallow breathing into deep breathing, or vice versa. Your breath can bypass your thinking, reconnect you with your body, and bring you back to the present. Now, for a long time, I thought meditation was about learning not to think. Like if I could get good enough, my thoughts would just disappear, which was a very dangerous proposition for a reformed perfectionist, let me tell you. But thinking is an autonomic process, like breathing or your heartbeat. You can't consciously stop your thoughts any more than you can consciously stop your heart. But you can stop letting them run the show. So, the goal of meditation is not to prevent thoughts, not to override your body or physical sensations. It's to stop being reactive to them. In other words, meditation creates a separation without disconnection. It helps you to observe thought and sensation without being consumed by them, to notice patterns without reacting to them, to witness without spiraling. And as you simply notice what's happening inside you, without identifying with it, you can begin to choose intentionally what does deserve your attention and your effort. This is the shift from reflexive reaction to grounded response. Because the only control you've ever really had is over your actions and your intentions. Everything else was just illusion, just noise. You don't have to choose one voice over the other. Just become aware enough to recognize which one leads you in the direction of home. The rapids are strong, but so are you. Not because you've mastered the river, but because you finally stopped fighting it. You've created space. This part of the journey is called the body reset because in that space, the body finally gets a seat at the table, room to be heard. Now, the body's been speaking all along. You just couldn't hear it over the sound of performance and panic and pushing. But now that you're floating, now that you're no longer swimming upstream, you can finally attune to it. Not as the enemy of the mind, but as its equal. Because when the mind gets lost in ego or performance, the body becomes your truest guide. It helps you discern what's real, what's true, and what's next. Remember the puzzle from episode 1? Your body doesn't need the full picture to start finding the pieces that fit. It just needs you to be present enough to listen to the signals that it's been sending. I want you to ask yourself, what would it feel like not to be in control? Or more importantly, what would it feel like not to feel the need to be in control? How might that transform your life? You don't have to grip the paddle. You don't have to micromanage the moment. You just have to trust that your body, after everything it's carried, knows how to float. Your body may not have felt like home for a long time, but it's yours, and it's been waiting for you to come back. Next week, on the Space Reset, we'll talk about how to physically and energetically set up your life to support who you're becoming. Because sometimes the most powerful reset isn't internal, it's environmental. So, reset as many times as you need, and I'll see you next week.